Okay, guys, we're here over the shoulder, special edition, Kwanzaa on our final day of Kwanzaa. Final day. This day is Imani. Imani means faith. And so let me tell you about the guest that I brought on today. When I think about faith, I think about her. Literally, her middle name means faith. But when you just think about somebody who just walks the way, walks not with their eyes, but with their hearts, with their hearts, just walking in a way that's just graceful, in a way that just constantly sows belief in self, belief in a higher power, belief that everything is gonna be as it should be, I think of her. One of my oldest friends, just the dopest, the best, Lady Lea Faye.
Good to see you,
Good to
Enoch.
see you. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Doing good? This cold weather not getting to you?
It's not even getting to me. Yeah, I just came from New York, so
Okay.
this feels good.
This feels good.
Yeah.
I just came from New York. I'm gonna flex on them real quick. Just came from New York. Okay. Lady Lea Faye, when you hear the word faith, the principle Imani,
Okay.
what comes to mind?
I would say a way of life, right? So you mentioned it earlier. I feel like I don't see with my eyes, I see through faith. So it changes how I do everything because I'm thinking of what the end goal will be, not what life looks like right now.
So that's a very interesting way. So have you always been like that? Is that how you always see? Is that something that it was learned over time? Because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that principle.
I would say it's something that I've been growing with, right? So when I was younger, I always was raised in the church. So started off Methodist, then I was at a Baptist church, then I was at non-denominational. But I would say the moment where faith really came into play would be college. Because at that point, your parents aren't there. It's up to you. This is now your life. And I would say that would be when my relationship with God started getting the closest it's been. And that was my freshman year. And that was when I first learned about fasting. So fasting for me was a different change of pace, that and worship. And it was different than I'm just reading my Bible compared to now I'm living it. And it really is my way of life.
I'm living it. Wow. You see, guys, why I brought her on for faith. Okay, so I feel like for a principle of faith, this is the final day. So what I've been telling everyone is that Kwanzaa is about building a community. So a big thing, people think some Christians say, oh, you can't do Christmas and Kwanzaa. No, it's literally the day after it. I actually think it works way better because Christmas you come, you get your family together, you celebrate, you get gifts, you're in this spirit of in this loving spirit, so for everyone who had the really great Christmas. But then the next 7 days when you do Kwanzaa, it's how do we take that loving spirit and propel it forward to be sustainable, to build a community where this loving spirit is not just on December 25th, but the other 364 days as well. So the last day is, to me, the most important day. It's faith. We have artwork made by Lady Lea Faye, and so faith is to me, the principle of faith being the last one is because, when Black community, we've been stricken with a lot of different things, over this last 500 years. It hasn't been, the most terrific time for us. So the first 6 days principles are how to build this community, how to be strong, how to be sustainable. But at the end of the day, it's not in our hands.
Right.
There's a higher power that has to, we have to trust that, the higher power has our back. The creator is always, moving doors for us. So it's a hard principle because you have to let go. You have to let it be.
For sure.
So I tell people about Kwanzaa that at the end of the day, it is, the let it be, let it go.
Yeah.
As you know me, I'm in the moment. I tell people just be, all of that kind of stuff. So to me, the final day does symbolize a lot of stuff that I stand for. So how do you on a normal day-to-day basis just let it be, just let it flow?
I love that. I would say it's how I start my day. But I want to say that I'm getting better with it, right? My goal every day is to get up early, but we know how that goes, to spend time with God. But I do journal. So I would say I'm always in a form of reflection, right? So I'm always meditating, even when I'm at work, just because it helps me self-center. And I think that's what helps push me through, knowing that this is bigger than me, that my job is just my job, it's not my life. So I feel like having that mindset helps me let go so that I can actually enjoy each day. Because if I get too caught up in what goes wrong, I've missed out on the day.
My greatest story I think I've ever experienced with you. You know where I'm going.
I know where this is going.
It's a reset. It's a reset button. It was. She literally broke up. Life is not going as
Life
planned.
is lifing.
Life is lifing. This woman, Lady Lea is on her way to work. On her way to work.
Yeah.
And she says, no, I ain't starting out my day like this.
No, we're going to have to start over. I'm going home. I'm making breakfast. I'm journaling. And then I'm going back in.
Listen, you are the boss of your life, not your job. That is what that statement is.
As you should be.
I was like, she called me that night.
I did.
Like, I
had to reset. Yeah.
Said,
it's the whole thing.
And at that time, I was in corporate America, and I was like, why ain't I been resetting? I need to reset. I need to reset,
Yes.
So now I reset.
And taking breaks. That's another thing I'm learning. To take time to take breaks and to schedule them. Right? So like every quarter, go ahead and take that day off. I have days off that I don't even know what I'm doing yet. But I know I'm taking off. I'll figure it out later. We'll figure out when we get there. But every time, and it helps me. It definitely helps me. And it could be something small. It could be like going to like a massage. Just being still, going to the park. Just something little that works for you, like whatever you enjoy.
One thing I've been trying to do recently is like, I've been trying to live almost every moment intentionally.
Yes.
So, like for me, okay, again, production studio, I'm always shooting or I'm editing and stuff like that. And so I might get home and know I have to edit, but I have to eat.
Yeah.
I have to, but you want to take a break, I might be tired and stuff like that. So typically what ends up happening is, what used to happen is I would go edit and then I would take a break and I might fall asleep and I might eat something, this and that, but I wasn't necessarily intentional about taking the break. I wasn't intentional about this is time for myself.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, hey, this hour or this 2 hours, I'm taking this time for me. I'm not worried about, the client. I'm not worried about this kind of stuff. And then just being that intentional, it just helps me like reset my peace.
I love that. So I started doing that when I was in grad school and working at the same time. I refused to do work on Mondays. I didn't care what the assignment was. I didn't care what the week was going to bring. I'm not doing it. Okay. Monday is my day. So anytime I wanted to like see a friend, I'm like, oh, Leah, you want to go out to eat? We can on Monday. It may be 3 Mondays from now because my next two are booked, but every Monday I'm not doing work. And I would say it was huge, that and enjoying the spring break that I got, like using that time, scheduling it. Because if not, life will pass you by. Like you have to schedule time for you.
Okay, so now this is the question. This is the heavy hitter question. I've been hitting everyone with this one.
Okay.
Everyone looks at me the same way when I give it this one. So I feel like our generation, we have taken on the mantle of we about to break generational curses.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
what's been happening to previously?
Yeah,
No more.
Right.
Ain't about to happen to me. My kid's gonna be free of this because I'm about to break it.
Yes.
So like that's the mantle. But how I've been transitioning everyone is that again, we didn't just say we're breaking anything.
Right.
It's a generational curse.
Exactly. That's heavy.
A curse is something that like this ain't just, oh, you about to have a bad day, a bad situation. This is like your life. Yeah. Like from beginning to end, you curse.
Yeah.
You throw on that word before it. The generational means it ain't just your life. It was your parents' life, your grandparents' life, they parents' life. Like we going back to back to back.
Okay.
So it's a heavy thing that I feel, a heavy mantle that we've decided to lift up is that we're breaking these generational curses. Okay. So how are you breaking generational curses?
Ooh, I would say by being an example of purity. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect by any means, so let's just start there. But I will say that I've always had an intention on like what I wear when I'm around certain people. And because of that, there's just certain things I just don't want to do, and I'm not lowering my standard on it. And because of that, I know that I have nieces, right? And they're watching me too. So even if you're like saying one thing, but you're not living it, they can tell. They'll call you out on it. They're kids, like they have no filter. So I say that the one thing that I'm working on, just in my family, just immediate family of those that see me, would be a life of purity for young women. So they can see you can still enjoy life, but be pure. I would say that's mine.
There's a level of faith that you have to have because you can be the example.
You can.
But, children go children.
Right. Yeah, they are.
Does it get hard, like, when you see them not, like...
It does. And it's not even just for them, right? But I would say it all goes around who you're hanging around with. Like, I have a great circle. I have you, Enoch, right? So it shows that I have to be intentional. We were talking about intentionality. I have to be intentional with who I have around me because that helps influence some of the decisions I do, where I'm going, how I'm living my life. So I'm very intentional about my circle and what I'm allowing other people to see when it comes to me.
With this and how I'm telling people about Kwanzaa, I'm saying that it works on many different levels. It can work on the global scale. So everyone, this is how you build a global community of just being humans. How people think about it, they think about community, me and you, a friendship, you know, the surrounding other people. But I tell people the most important level that it works on is the level of in self.
Yes.
Each of these principles can be like, honestly, if you're not living each of these principles within yourself, you haven't built yourself as a strong person to be able to go out and handle the world. So faith is very important to have within self.
That foundation.
Foundation. So again, how do you keep your faith restored?
That's good. So I would say it goes back to that meditation, right? Like spending time for just you, whether that's like reading the Bible at times, especially when it comes to spirituality. I would say reading the Bible, being still. Journaling is big for me because it makes you confront things, right? Like you can put on a facade for anybody else, but you can't for God because he knows before you're even thinking it, before you say it. Like you can't lie to him. Even if you lie to other people, like you still got to answer to him. Like that's a whole thing. You can't get away. There's literally nowhere you can go. The Lord is there.
The rocks will be calling out your name if you try to hide.
Come on, It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
So I think because of that, like I'm being more intentional when it comes to my spirituality of taking time for just God. Because I've also noticed that he shows up. Like if you want him there, he's going to make himself known. He's always there, but there's a point in you where you have to make room for him to be in your life. So I say that's where I'm continuing to strive towards every day, like making more room for God to like live and reign.
All right, so you have to. So that has to be hard, Leah. That had to. I know. Again, we have a 2-decade-long friendship, and everything you have said, you have lived and you've walked, and I see you as a very, very pure person. You're genuine. You're authentic. You know, you are who you say you are. You know, so. And the parts of the people who don't know, they don't need to know it because you don't want to see that side of Leah. You don't want to see. If you see that side of Leah, good luck. But like, how do you sustain faith when it's getting so hard to sustain? When this is like, you're being hit with more questions than answers.
Right. Yeah. I would say how I'm able to sustain my faith goes along with who I'm spending time with and what I'm allowing myself to see. Right? Like the eye gates are so powerful. Like what you're watching, what you're surrounding yourself by. So like when I do my hair and I'm curling my hair at night, it's like a Michael Todd sermon from Transformation Church or Sarah Jakes Roberts, love her. So like having that on replay or like just listening to gospel music on my way to work, like that helps set the tone before I even get there. If I'm ever stressed out, and I don't know, like I just need a moment to like decompress and just reset. Like I'll listen to gospel music. Like that helps me a lot. Reading Proverbs, Psalms, like little things like that. Like that helps with my reset and just being still, really.
So you just surround yourself with the positivity that you might not be feeling.
Right. Yeah. I have to. To change it. To change that atmosphere, I have to change what I'm listening to, what I'm looking at, and allow that to be my reset.
I've always found with humans, we are very, we're interesting creatures in that when we start having, that one thing goes wrong. And then most people immediately start doing is they start feeling like they have to defeat themselves. So that's when they go out and do something that, they might hurt a friend. They might hurt, a loved one. They might go hurt, their significant other, the person who's holding you down. They start doing things that like really you're tearing apart like your inner home. We do that a lot. And so like what you're saying with faith is like when the one thing starts to have going bad and maybe the 2-3 things, instead of tearing it down, look, how can you surround yourself with builders who are going to help build up your home. And so like,
and being honest, like going to a friend if you need it. Like, I feel like sometimes we suffer in silence because it could be pride, right? Like, I don't want to tell somebody I'm going through. And if they say like, how are you? And you're like, I'm good. I'm like, but are you? Are you though? Like, I start following up. You sure? Like, for real. Let me know. I want to know because I feel like that's not true.
I feel like
I can't help you if you don't tell me.
Very true. You do follow up. You do. You again. That is you. That is who you are. So on the last day of Kwanzaa, the thing that at least I'm going to take from it is surround yourself with people who you trust and care, and positive messages.
For sure.
And, honestly, the life that you want to live. So
Yeah.
I do try to, like, for me personally, I do try to, like, I look at the people who I admire, and I try to surround myself with, like, their sayings, like the YouTubes. I'll listen to, like, speeches that these people gave, or interviews and stuff like that. So I'll mention LeBron a lot because I look up to LeBron. So I like to hear him talk about certain things because, I can only imagine what it's like to have lived to that level of greatness.
Very true.
And then have actually overachieved that level of greatness. So, like, even if he's not giving the best answer or people are criticizing him from, I'm looking at it from a completely different perspective that he knows he's going to have to be criticized. Like, he has to study so many different things other than basketball just to be who he is. Like, so he's been more defined by things other than basketball than basketball. Even though he's considered,
very true. More than basketball.
More than basketball, A GOAT of basketball is not defined by basketball. Yeah. So I feel like, that's a very powerful statement. And it's kind of led me that for most people, most of our great leaders, like, the thing they're defined by is not necessarily the thing that was their gift. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you're giving gifts. So you're giving, like, this stuff that that leads to fame, wealth, influence, power, all those other things. Yeah. But the thing that typically usually defines your life is not that gift. It's what you did with that gift and how you
use it to help others too. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I love that.
That is faith.
I love it.
That is community. And that's what Kwanzaa is about. So I tell people, when you look at Kwanzaa, when you look at it, it can be applied to anybody, any group of people, any situation. It can literally be just for the individual. Right. I do these more so for just me and how to build up myself. Just hearing your opinion on faith, hearing Ruku's opinion on self-determination, Stanley's opinion on unity, hearing Caitlin's opinion on, collective works. Like, just hearing these different perspectives, it's just like, I never thought of it like that way. And it's like, it helps me grow as a person.
And I love that. Yeah. Iron sharpening iron.
Hopefully I'm sharpening it. Hopefully I'm doing, something. Who knows?
Each other.
Who knows?
You're in my circle.
Exactly. I just be saying something at this point. And people like, I think in Stanley's, he was like, man, bro, you said something. I was like, did I say something? Did I? Okay, cool. I'm happy to know that, I say something smart at least once a day, I'm not an idiot all the time, But yeah, so that's, to me, that's Kwanzaa. That's why I celebrate and I try to, build and uplift our community. We have a lot of negative stuff that is always being introduced to our community. So I try to counter that with something like, how can we build community so that, these weapons formed against us are not prospering?
Right, exactly.
Because, if weapons are always going to be formed against you.
We're better together.
You're better together. So, you can take on a whole army if you have an army yourself.
Yeah, very
But
true.
if you just by yourself, it ain't looking too good. Listen.
Need help. Yeah.
You need
we
help.
need each other.
We need a community. And it's like we've been trying as the black community to build it, and I feel like, let's keep going. Let's keep building because we want this to be sustainable. We want it to grow.
And not for just one.
Not just
for all.
For all. Again, well, me and you have faced that in terms of like, you've been a great friend to me. So
same.
So what we face in our friendship, I don't want our kids to have to face.
Right.
Like, I wanted to be a lot more peace. I wanted them to have a completely different set of problems that are just because of them being humans as opposed to because of their skin color or because of their gender or anything like that. So, let's break these generational curses. Let's make it happen, And I feel like it starts with this. It starts with these conversations. And it starts with us.
Right.
Me and you.
I love it.
Enoch and Lea. Lea and Enoch, since 6th grade.
I know. In the game.
I love it. Brownsville Elementary. Gang. So I thank you, Lea, for, wrapping it up so beautifully. This Kwanzaa edition of Over the Shoulder. To the audience, I hope you guys were able to get something about it. Have conversations with the people you love. Next year when Kwanzaa comes around, just try to celebrate it in a way where you just have conversations about the principle. It doesn't have to be a whole day that you celebrate it. It could be just you calling someone you love and let's talk about unity. Let's talk about self-determination. Let's talk about faith. Let's talk about purpose. And just, see where it gets you. Just give it a shot. And if you don't like it, you don't ever have to do it again. But I guarantee you're gonna like it. So as I say on this show, always, that's a wrap.